Well, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Elliot Kallen, CEO of Prosperity Financial Group, and I'd like to welcome you to another terrific episode of Meet the Expert. Today, we are targeting the business owner. Why the business owner? Because if you're a small business entrepreneur, you are always fighting for cash flow, always fighting for it. We've got Rocky Lalvani on here. Very exciting. Welcome, Rocky, to our
Thank you
show.
so much for having me here today, Elliot.
Oh, you're
Excited to
very-
conversation with you.
Absolutely. So we're going to talk about cash flow. Rocky is an owner of Profit Comes First, and he's a cash flow expert for small business owners. I'm excited because we usually get on the consumer type of person, and now we've got on a business type of person, which is great. So if you have business people in your family and entrepreneurs, or you are yourself, or your children have taken over your business, or you're thinking about the next step, that's where Rocky's going to come in and talk about cash flow. I'm excited for another reason too. I don't know if you've seen that book, but that's my new book called Driven by Adam, and I wrote this book. And as of this moment, we are Amazon best-selling authors. So that's really exciting. If you haven't gotten it, go to Amazon and say, please send me Driven by Elliot Kallen. And that's two L's and one T. And you can reach me at Elliot, ELLIOT, at prosperityfinancialgroup.com or 925-314-8503 or www.prosperityfinancialgroup.com. Lots of great ways to reach me here. So, Rocky, so many business owners just don't understand cash flow. And I'm one of them. When I started in my 20s, my company grew at 30% a year, and I kept running out of money constantly. And even
That's
now,
normal.
Even now, sometimes I stay up at night thinking about payroll, 30 years into this business, and I got plenty of money to pay payroll, but it doesn't mean I can sleep at night knowing that. So I'm always worried about that. And I know you've got a background of fractional CFO. So with most of our clients being business owners, and we're always talking to them about 401ks and cash balance plans if they have a lot of cash on hand. But we're not really talking to the people with a lot of cash on hand. We're talking about the people that are every day they go to work and it's a little bit of a struggle with cash. They're going to be our primary target. So why don't you define first what the problem is, Rocky, and then how you, with your background, would solve that. Is that good?
That works. So, this was kind of a big aha for me. When business owners go into business, I'd assume they go into business because they understood the business of business and wanted to be a business owner. What I found out is that was the furthest thing from the truth. They went into business to do what they loved, and accounting wasn't usually on the list unless they were an accounting practice or a bookkeeping practice. And so most business owners don't pay attention to the numbers. And it's no different than personal finance, right? Most people, unfortunately, don't pay attention to their personal finances. So if you're not looking at the numbers, you've got no idea what's going on. The traditional way for business owners to solve this is to do what you did. We'll just grow at 30%. And they assume that if we grow, that it will solve all problems. But the reality is growth causes massive cash flow problems because the money may not be coming in as fast as the growth. It depends on the business model. And if you haven't thought that through and actually planned for that and understand that, then you are going to struggle with this. And so that is essentially what we're up against. I'm a personal finance junkie. I came from the personal finance space. I know how to automate, build wealth, and do all of that in the traditional ways by creating excess and letting experts like you make it grow. That's kind of my belief. I think business owners should do the same. The problem is they struggle with, how do I create the excess? How do I make payroll? How do I pay for my cost of goods? How do I make, my monthlies that need to be done? And the reality is most business owners are not going to open up their QuickBooks or whatever software they're using, look at it and make decisions. And part of the reason they don't do that is because all of that stuff is the rear view mirror, right? You sell investments, correct?
Correct.
Yes. All right. So I think you give everyone a warning, right? Past results don't dictate the future. And the reality is the same things in business. You know, what happened 2 months ago doesn't tell you what's in the bank today and doesn't tell you what's happening tomorrow. And that in itself is the problem that most business owners face. I realized how to fix it, but actually, I realized I wanted to help people fix it. I didn't want to write about it. I didn't want to create systems. I didn't want to write books and be a best-selling author like you. Not my thing until ChatGPT came out. Now maybe I will, but we'll see about that. Not my thing.
You can do the chat GPT, and you're only going to be like 40% accurate, but who cares?
That's okay. So I partnered with Mike Michalowicz, who wrote the book Profit First. He's a serial entrepreneur. And what he did was he took the same principles I was using in personal finance and he brought them to business finance, and he automated business finances. So basically what happens in the Profit First book is every time a dollar comes into the business, you give that dollar a job and you send it to do that job. So we believe that the first dollar should go to profit, right? That first cut, you go to profit. The second thing that you should do is pay yourself. The third thing you need to do is pay the IRS, because they now have guns and they come after you, right? They'll take all your money regardless of whether you like it. And then what's left is what you spend on your business. So you're really constraining your expenses. You're making sure that you get paid first, that the business is profitable, and then we cover expenses. Now, we're not stiffing people, all right? This isn't about greed. This is about understanding that your business needs to live on a budget, just like people kind of need to live on a budget. And everyone hates that word budget. Budgets are like diets. I get it. Most business owners ask the question, how much do I have to spend? How much can I take out of my company? And they don't know how to answer those. In the book, Mike gives every business owner a target to shoot for based on revenue. You take your money and you put it in those different buckets, and then you use the money as allocated for the purposes that's intended. And when you run out of money, you realize, oh, I better do something different. And it gives you a much earlier warning signal and tells you your business isn't as profitable or as healthy financially as you might have thought it was. Does that make sense?
It does, but I want to be a contrarian with you for a moment, because I am also a business owner. So we as Prosperity Financial Group, we provide 401k, both a product and advice. We provide profit sharing product and advice. We do portfolios for business owners. 60% of our clients are entrepreneurs. We do all the money stuff. And that sounds really good, but we're in California out here. We have got the highest cost of labor in the country, the most benefits we must apply to this, the most labor laws constraining us on how to do business, one of the highest rents in the country, San Francisco and New York City. We are killed in overhead. And so when we talk about starting a business and just saying, pay myself first, I have to tell you that so often I always feel like I'm paying myself last, because everybody's got to get paid before me, because the overhead is just so doggone high. I say it like a New Yorker, doggone high, D-A-W-G. And so it's really hard to fathom that I'm going to pay me first when I've got, 16 people depending on me to go out every day and write business, and I'm hoping that they're writing it too. So how do you get the mindset on how to take care of my family first when I've got employees whose lives and livelihoods depend on me 100%?
I think this is where people mistake profit first. They think that by saying profit first, you're actually going to pay yourself out and screw your people over. And that is not the case. That is not what this is about. All right. But it is a mindset shift. You just told me that doing business in California is expensive. One of the biggest things we'll tell people is before you begin your business, let's model it out. Let's look at all those expenses, and then let's look at how much you're selling stuff for and ask yourself, is there margin here? Because if there's no margin here, then you're not in a good business, or at least you're not in a good business for California, or you're not in a good business model that's going to give you the money to take care of your family. And if you, the business owner, aren't on solid ground, and if every morning you come into work worried about payroll, but more importantly, worried about the fact that your kid has no lunch money, you're not going to do a very good job. So you really do have to think through this. You do have to take care of your family. You do also have to take care of your employees. What we do beyond this is to sit down and model all of that out and say, how much extra is there really? And then hold you to that. Too often business owners throw money at problems instead of thinking through and being more resourceful. It's really easy when you have a problem to throw money at it. We do it personally, we do it in business. This is a system that actually tells you to think a little bit differently about your business.
So I wish, and I've always wished in my career, that I have a CFO. I always wish that, because they would be kind of my Jiminy Cricket for my ego, making sure that we're doing it at the right time, at the right place, unemotional. And you are a fractional CEO for many businesses. Can you explain what that is and how I, as a business owner, can afford a CFO at my size?
And so that is the biggest struggle, right? Most small businesses can't afford the experts that they need to survive. What I realized is, hey, most small businesses such as yours don't need somebody on staff full time. They need a couple hours of understanding what is going on in their business. What does their model look like? What's the next step that they need to go take? And then they're going to go spend hours working on that. So what we do is we come in, we look at your past behaviors, your past flow of where the cash is going, and we evaluate everything. And what we're different from accountants is we're not looking in the rearview mirror. We're trying to always look forward. What's next? So we start with something simple. You mentioned you have salespeople, right? They go out and they sell stuff.
Sure.
Okay. So where we start is actually, how many leads do your salespeople have? And you don't need to answer that in a second. Out of the leads that they get, let's say you've got 5 salespeople. Every morning they get 10 leads. How many are they actually closing that day? Maybe you've got one who closes 2 every day. Maybe you've got one who closes 5 every day. Hopefully you don't have one that closes 0 every day. Maybe you've got one who closes 12 every day. Now you've got a question to ask. Wait a minute. How do I have a sales guy who gets 10 leads and closes 12? What is he doing different than the person who's closing 2? And why is the person only closing 2? You start to realize the person who's closing 2 needs sales training. We don't need to spend more money. We don't need to hire another salesperson. We need to make sure that we properly train that salesperson. What is the guy doing who's selling 12 a day? Well, every time he closes a deal, he asks for 2 referrals. So every day his 10 leads turn into 30 leads, and he's closing a couple extra right there. And that's how he built his business. How do we take that knowledge, that resourcefulness, that smartness, and then put it onto our other people and create a culture and a behavior of doing things differently? Then you're in a particular type of business, but let's just go to a more simpler business. If I'm in a business selling sandwiches every day, right? Am I charging enough for my sandwich that when I sell my sandwich, I can cover all the cost of food, I can cover all the cost of labor, I can cover the cost of my building and my insurance, I can cover the cost of putting money into a 401k, and I can cover my salary. Most business owners don't even know what that number is. And so what we do is we help them make sure that they're appropriately pricing it, and so that they know to do that. And then we also prevent them from the shiny object syndrome, right? You take a guy in the trades. Most of them get excited about a new truck. Can you blame them? Hey, oh, look, a nice new Ford, F, whatever they want to buy. And the accountant calls them up and says, hey, if you buy a truck, you get a tax deduction. Woohoo, now we've lit the guy on fire. What he doesn't realize is if you buy a $100,000 pickup truck and you've got a 10% profit margin, you have to go out and sell $1 million worth of services to pay for that truck. But nobody told him that. That's the type of insights and knowledge we bring them so that they're not making silly decisions on taxes that ruin their cash flow for tomorrow because now they're stuck paying for that truck forever. So a lot of what we do is basically help them understand the math of their business, how it flows, where there's a problem that can be solved by putting attention to it, not throwing money at it, and helping them to understand where the biggest levers are in their business. Was that clear?
I think it's great. I think, business owners and people that know entrepreneurs are going to want to meet you. They're going to want to talk to you and have a conversation. How do they reach you, Rocky?
So best way is just come out to the website. The website is Profit Comes First. There's also a link there to my podcast, which is called Profit Answer Man, or you just find that anywhere. On the Profit Answer Man, we teach all of these principles. We share all of what we do with our clients. We help you to understand your business in a different way and how to think differently about it. But all the stuff we do, you can learn for free, and we share everything we do for free.
That's just great. We've been talking to Rocky Lalvani. Now, he is a fractional CFO, and he's a cash flow expert. So every small business entrepreneur can reach out to Rocky for free and have a conversation about their business and see if it fits with them. So Rocky, I want to thank you very much for that. We've been talking, you're with Elliot Kallen, Prosperity Financial Group. I'm going to remind you, get on Amazon and order Driven by Elliot Kallen, and you just write Elliot Kallen, it'll pop up, and it's great. And if you want more information, we'll be posting this as soon as it comes live on our website with Rocky's information. So Rocky, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
And have a great day, everybody. We'll see you again soon.